was expecting a funnel cloud. There wasn't a funnel. It was all the way across, big, dark, black.
It was really total, complete destruction.
It was too large to outrun, and judging by the damage, too strong to have survived it in anything except away from its path.
Houses were obliterated. I'm talking about everything in the house was taken. Their flooring was taken. Bathtubs that you would normally go into were gone.
And they said, hey, we found a body over here, and we found a body over here, and nobody could tell who they are. You could just barely see the figure. And
once you've witnessed it, you never get over it.
The tornado was totally beyond our control, but people just stepped up immediately to try to help, to try to donate, to try to comfort, to do all of those kinds of things, not just for a day, but for a long time after.
I'm Albert Ramon.
I'm Terry Gruca. A lot of things in life are out of our control.
And 20 years ago, May 27th, 1997, Mother Nature took everything from the town of Jarrell. The tornado that touched down took 27 people away from their loved ones.
The survivors' stories are heart-wrenching. They describe images most of us can't imagine seeing with our own eyes.
But to begin to understand how much they've lost, you have to know how it starts with one of the deadliest tornadoes in Texas history. May in Central Texas, the stormiest and at times the most violent time of the year. But the first few weeks of May 1997 were unusually calm.
There were hardly any tornadoes anywhere on the plains.
Former TV meteorologist Lon Curtis was an assistant district attorney for Bell County and an experienced storm chaser.
Nobody was having big storms.
Take a look at the satellite from this afternoon and see the explosion.
That all changed on the 27th.
And the strongest storms are taking place.
The humidity was sweltering at 6:30 in the morning.
The atmosphere was primed, moisture content was high, and there was an incredible amount of instability.
I had never felt that kind of humidity at that hour of the day.
Then a gravity wave, a ripple in the atmosphere produced by storms in Oklahoma and Arkansas the day before, collided with that muggy air mass over central Texas, and the fuse was lit.
It looked like an atomic bomb had gone off.
That explosion in the atmosphere kicked off just south of Waco, just after lunchtime.
This cumulonimbus that just went straight up in the air before it spread out.
In just 40 minutes, the first of 22 tornadoes would drop near Lorena, Texas, and continue southward over the next 2 hours.
And I just jumped out and started rolling as fast as I could.
KV photojournalist Scott Guess intercepted the storm as it moved into southern Bell County near the community of Prairie Dell.
Initially, it was just a singular thin cloud. Craig, keep looking for another one. Debris from the ground began going upward into it.
Curtis had chased the storm south, witnessing the same developing tornado about 10 miles north of Jarrell.
And that just got bigger and bigger and bigger.
You just didn't really have a sense of how big it was until it hit one of the hay bales. It hit one almost directly and just flung it up into the air like it was nothing.
I don't know what the thing's gonna do. I seen the movie Twister, that's all I know.
Were you scared?
A little bit.
God, look at that.
It was literally coming directly toward us, straight down I-35.
There was one more foreboding signature of this monster tornado. It was moving in an unusual direction, southwest, along a stalled boundary stretched from west of the interstate.
Okay, man, this is the point.
Let's move it. At that point, we were like, we need to move.
Scott and his reporter Greg moved farther north. The tornado was approaching the west side of Jarrell. It had grown into an F5 monster.
But now it was huge, way bigger.
In a matter of minutes.
What I wasn't prepared for is the rapid intensification from what had been a small, narrow, relatively weak tornado at Prairie Dell, and 4 miles down the road, it's 600 yards wide.
That's 3/4 of a mile wide, or 13 football fields laid end to end.
And I yelled at my reporter, look at the size of it now! Now, instead of it looking like a traditional tornado like you see, it looked like just a big wedge from the ground up.
Inside the wedge, winds exceeding 260 miles per hour.
So I didn't know that when the wedge happened, that was in a neighborhood.
The horror lasted for 2 to 3 minutes over the Double Creek Estate subdivision, the intense winds erasing homes and lives.
Now reporting another one on the ground near Jarrell.
What I heard just sent chills up and down my spine. Every highway patrol unit that checked on that frequency was go to Jarrell. You're needed in Jarrell.
You know, when you look at typical tornado aftermath, it looks like a neighborhood has been blenderized. But when we got to the neighborhood, you couldn't tell there was even a neighborhood.
From where those people are standing in the yellow jacket right there, from there over was houses.
There was nothing left.
Trailers, real houses.
There was nothing left.
Just massive destruction.
You ever seen anything like it?
No, sir. That's my first tornado. Hope it's my last.
Where are the ranges? Where are the refrigerators? Where are the washing machines? Where are the outside air conditioning units? Nobody knew where they were.
The foundations were swept clean.
People got out there, and where were the people that were in these houses?
Tim Marshall, a meteorologist and civil engineer, assessed the damage.
They couldn't find the people that were in these houses until they started looking more closely.
The winds within the storm so intense that every piece of debris was shrapnel, shredding everything in its path. Homes, livestock, people. All that was left was pieces.
Basically, they found a finger over here or a wrist over there, and they were able to try to piece back together the people, literally, to try to identify them.
The unthinkable had just happened. The same storm system produced additional tornadoes as it continued its deadly path southward.
Trees down, power lines down, everything's down.
Cedar Park was hit by an F3 tornado, destroying an Albertsons grocery store.
Just jumped the road and came over here so quick, everybody just ran inside, and then that's when the roof collapsed.
People survived inside the store's walk-in coolers thanks to a quick-thinking store manager. Home video shows the tornado approach, then strike the Buttercup subdivision, a neighborhood in shambles. 70-mile-per-hour winds and flooding rain roared through Austin.
So folks in the downtown Austin area, you need to take shelter immediately.
A 38-year-old woman killed along Show Creek from flash flooding. Then on the south shores of Lake Travis, an F4 tornado, destroying dozens of homes south of Briarcliff in the Hazy Hills subdivision. A 25-year-old man killed as his mobile home and pickup truck were destroyed. By sunset, 30 people were dead, 27 in Jarrell. It's one thing to talk about how fierce this tornado was. It's another to have lived through it.
I think altogether it lasted about 10 minutes, but it seemed like it was forever.
Families praying for safety in the places they've been told to run to their whole lives. A closet, a bathroom, except this tornado didn't care if you were right in its path. The chances of survival dropped to 0.
It's the Great American Ford Sales Event. Just announced 0% for 5 years on our complete lineup of cars and SUVs. America's best-selling brand and the best-selling brand in Texas. And now all first responders, active military, and veterans get $1,000 appreciation cash on top of all current offers. Now get 0% financing for 5 years on all cars and SUVs plus $1,000 appreciation cash. Hurry in to your best in Texas Ford dealer.
Trifexis presents Life with 3 Dogs.
My 3 boys keep me busy, and taking care of them is my responsibility. But I've got it all under control. Well, mostly. I do everything 3 at a time, so I use Trifexis. It's 3 types of parasite protection in 1 tablet every month. It's easy and effective.
Trifexis kills fleas and prevents infestations, prevents heartworm disease, and treats and controls adult hook, round, and whipworm infections in dogs to deliver 3-in-1 protection every month. It's one and done. The use of ivermectin at higher than FDA-approved doses at the same time as Trifexis can result in serious side effects. Treatment with fewer than 3 monthly doses after exposure to mosquitoes may not provide complete heartworm prevention. Prior to administration, dogs should be tested for existing heartworm infection. The most common adverse reactions are vomiting, depression, lethargy, and itching.
Protecting my boys gives me peace of mind, so I choose the 3-in-1 power of Trifexis. It makes parasite protection easy, even if you don't own 3 dogs.
Ask your veterinarian about Trifexis.
I've been growing blueberries in Texas for over 28 years, and I'm not slowing down anytime soon. Texas blueberries are just plain delicious. The soil, the climate, that extra love and care we provide produce a crisp, really fresh berry. We plan on sending about 30 tons of blueberries this year to H-E-B and only H-E-B. Each berry is on its way within a few hours. These berries are full of antioxidants like vitamin C, so they keep you healthy. I'm Mike, and this is the best blueberries in Texas department at H-E-B. No store does more than my H-E-B.
We can't remind you enough that this is a powerful storm. You need to stay indoors and you need to stay off the telephone emergency.
When the storm warning sounded in Jarrell on May 27, 1997, many people rushed home thinking that was the safest place to seek shelter.
Only to learn no place was safe.
Look at the size of it now.
Something about Mother Nature
Incredible.
draws human nature.
About 6, 7 miles.
It makes us stop,
It's tore up all kinds of stuff. You can see the houses, pieces flying.
even when we shouldn't.
We stood and watched it coming at us.
400 people lived in Jarrell in 1997. Most of them, like Bonnie Hammett, rushed home May 27th when the weather warning sounded.
And didn't realize that that's what it was.
I was scared to death.
Very scared. Very scared. We had never been anything like that. And it was the first day after that school had let out. And my daughter was staying with my mom.
Bonnie and her family huddled in a bathroom, the kids in the tub.
I said, grab mattresses out of the trailer so we can cover with them.
Brenda Cooper sought cover in her family's rock quarry.
We got down in the deepest quarry, the hole that we had dug, and you could hear the wind and the blowing and hear the debris going around. And of course, we were looking.
2 women with no idea how their lives were about to change.
I think altogether it lasted about 10 minutes, but it seemed like it was forever.
A 10-minute tirade, 7.6 miles long, 3/4 of a mile wide, tore through their town.
There wasn't a ceiling in the next room, and I'm looking and I'm pushing myself back down, and she's sitting there going, "What are you doing?" I said, "There's nothing out there."
3 businesses, 38 homes destroyed.
We could hear the ambulances, but they never left. And that was the hard part.
It was unbelievable how houses were totally gone.
Total devastation.
Everything was down to the slab.
Drew Sumner has lived in Jarrell most of his life and is Jarrell's athletic director.
We saw like a cow would be cut completely in half at the girth and just laying there dead, and we just saw one half the cow and couldn't find the other half the cow.
The ferocity of that situation, I can't begin to describe to you.
To this day, retired firefighter Mark McAdams has trouble describing what he witnessed. Is it hard for you to talk about what you saw?
I'd just rather not talk about that.
The toughest part is the people lost.
The tornado just devastated them so and took all the hair off of them and everything. Nobody could tell who they are. You could just barely see the figure.
Families just totally wiped out.
The Igos lived right here.
Patricia King is the town historian.
The children and the wife were at the school, and they decided they better come home. And so they came home, and they all perished, all 5 of them.
The Mooring family, too. Mom, Dad, Eric, and Ryan, along with 2 of their friends, gone.
We lost a lot of kids. I think probably that was one of the hardest things.
In all, 27 people died, 13 of them children.
I think it changes your life.
In the days, weeks, and months that followed, help poured in.
The tornado was totally beyond our control, but people just stepped up immediately to try to help, to try to donate, to try to comfort, to do all of those kinds of things, not just for a day, but for a long time after.
That day changed Jarrell.
When you mention the word Jarrell, Texas, it's like tornado.
It changed not just the conversations, but how people live.
We probably have a higher number of storm shelters per capita that is average in any town.
The storm cellar came before the house.
For Bonnie, this is her security blanket.
I won't go through one again on top of the ground.
Something about surviving a storm like this changes your perspective.
You never know when your day's coming. And live it to the fullest while you can. Because the next day you might not make it.
20 years can change a lot.
But you can't come back from it. It's not the same, but you can't come back.
But the questions linger.
You start thinking of all of these other people didn't make it. Why did we? So I'm still trying to figure that one out.
Until May 27, 1997, we had not had an F5 or F4 tornado in Williamson or Travis County.
So what have we learned from this storm, and what things have changed as a result? When we come back.
Food, water, internet. We need it to live.
But what we don't need are surprises, like extra monthly fees.
I See You Fee, played by legendary actress Angelica Houston.
You got me, Mark.
We just want fast internet for one simple rate. For all the streaming and the shopping and the newsing, but most of all, for this.
Internet for one everyday simple price and no extra monthly fees.
It's the Great American Ford Sales Event. Just announced. 0% for 5 years on the smartest, most capable trucks, including the all-new 2017 Super Duty. And now all first responders, active military, and veterans get $1,000 appreciation cash on top of all current offers. Now get 0% financing for 5 years on F-Series, plus $1,000 appreciation cash. Hurry in to your best in Texas Ford dealer.
It feels so true when I'm with you, I'm free. A place I go that feels like home to me. It feels so true.
Lose yourself in the music. Find yourself in the mountains. Red River is New Mexico true.
I didn't see this coming.
You've got just 72 hours to save during NTV's Super Sale. 72 hours to buy 3 tires and get the 4th tire free when you purchase standard installation on all 4 tires. Plus, use your store credit card and get an additional $75 rebate on any pre-tax purchase of $500 or more. That's right, a $75 rebate. Buy 3, get 1 free. It's the NTV Super Sale. 72 hours of savings. Wow.
20 years have passed since the Jarrell tornado. A lot has changed. News, technology, we've seen a lot of advancements.
But when it comes to our homes and how we build them, not much has changed.
I have never seen that intensity of damage in my career.
This is Tim Marshall.
Houses were obliterated.
A meteorologist.
I'm talking about everything in the house is taken.
And a civil engineer who says this tornado was unlike all others.
The destruction is so intense, it serves as a baseline for which other tornadoes are rated against.
He surveyed the damage following the Jarrell tornado.
Flooring was taken. Commodes, bathtubs that you would normally go into were gone.
20 years later,
we have not learned our lesson about building better.
Most homes then and even now are rated to withstand 90-mile-per-hour winds.
We still build houses basically the same. And this is a problem.
Jarrell's F5 produced over 260 mile-per-hour winds.
Over a house in the core, it was there for 2 to 3 minutes. Now that duration is an eternity.
The tornado crawling at only 9 miles per hour, not just destroying everything in its path, but shredding and grinding the landscape.
You can't really build against a Jarrell-style tornado, but very rarely are tornadoes Jarrell-style.
Majority of tornadoes in central Texas are rated between EF0s and EF2s. That's winds between 65 and 135 miles per hour. Building better, building smarter can make the difference.
What you need to do is to anchor the wall down to the foundation with a strap. Then you need to solidly sheathe your home to lock it in like a box. And then you need to strap down the roof to the wall. So those 3 style connections are very important.
One of the most vulnerable areas, the garage.
The garage door blows in and then it pressurizes the inside like a balloon. And then it removes the roof because of that.
But even hunkered down in a fortified house would not help in a monster like the F5 that struck Jarrell.
Jarrell, being such a high-end event, was not really survivable above ground.
It was pretty devastating.
Adam Richter is owner of Jarrell Storm Shelters.
Save your life is what it'll do.
His father-in-law started the business after the Jarrell disaster.
No one was expecting that storm, and if they would have had that, a shelter like this or similar, they'd be alive today.
They're rated for wind up to 250 miles an hour, which is the Jarrell-style event.
And despite what you may think,
the dirt compacted around it, everything, basically anchored into the ground.
Not all shelters have to be underground.
You can incorporate them into your house, so you can have one like in your closet, you know, or in the garage.
For the cost of granite countertops, I mean, it's really not that much.
Something you get, and hopefully, you'll never have to use it.
The way homes are constructed, it hasn't changed much in 2 decades, but weather technology has, especially when it comes to how tornadic storms are tracked.
Our computer models are much better than they were 20 years ago.
John Zeitler is a meteorologist for the National Weather Service in New Braunfels.
We are picking up an apparent rotation in this particular storm.
Back in 1997, our radar only updated about every 5 to 6 minutes. Now we get updates literally every minute.
That is now moving across the north central portion.
So that, again, makes a big difference in determining the direction the storm's going.
One of the newest upgrades of Doppler radar is dual polarization. This gives meteorologists the ability to look inside the storm.
We can now very clearly tell that it's producing a tornado because we see the debris actually inside the storm.
The radar now sends both horizontal and vertical electromagnetic waves, spotting not only rain and hail, but tornadoes.
They can actually see debris that has been lofted by a tornado. You will not see that debris unless there is a tornado funneling it up into the air.
The new technology is leading to better and quicker warnings.
A lot of people have smartphones now, and with the internet, we can get that warning out much faster.
And that, along with having a plan of action, can save lives. Something like the tornado in Jarrell doesn't happen often, but there's nothing wrong with being prepared and having a plan of action just in case. We've said it over and over, but this storm changed people forever.
They will always have one eye on the sky. There will always be tension when there's severe weather in the forecast. But the survivors also remember the selflessness of complete strangers.
It was the long-lasting comfort providing to the people that suffered. That's what I want people to remember.
They were friends, entire families, loved ones, Texans.
Remembering the people who lost their lives, next.
The adventurous 2017 Subaru Crosstrek. Standard symmetrical all-wheel drive plus 33 miles per gallon. A 2016 IIHS Top Safety Pick Plus with EyeSight Driver Assist technology. The 2017 Subaru Crosstrek. Love where it takes you.
Maintain the love of your new Subaru with 2 years of complimentary maintenance. Lease the 2017 Subaru Crosstrek for $189 per month for 36 months, now through May 31st.
Hi, I'm Bobby Jenkins. My brothers and I are making a cross-country bike ride to raise money for the Moss Peratt Foundation. The foundation is named after my grandson Moss, who died while napping. We start in Seattle and finish in New York City. Go to MossPerattFoundation.org to donate today.
Bassett is unique in regards to that customability. You had 1,000 different fabrics to pick from.
Very customizable. You can choose the back, you can choose the arm, you can choose the leg.
We couldn't be any happier.
It's the final weekend to save 25% store-wide at Bassett.
It's the Great American Ford Sales Event. Just announced 0% for 5 years on our complete lineup of cars and SUVs. America's best-selling brand and the best-selling brand in Texas. And now all first responders, active military, and veterans get $1,000 appreciation cash on top of all current offers. Now get 0% financing for 5 years on all cars and SUVs plus $1,000 appreciation cash. Hurry in to your best in Texas Ford dealer.
You've seen college tuition on the rise, and you wonder if it's possible for you, or maybe your children, to get a college degree. National American University announces its new Tuition Advantage. Now you can save up to 35% while earning your degree in less time. The NAU Tuition Advantage. Lower tuition, graduate sooner. National.edu.
National American University. For the people of Jarrell, the number 27 surrounds them.
It is the day in May 1997 that the tornado ripped apart this small community.
It is the number of people who lost their lives.
And the score of the high school's first football game the summer following the storm.
For all the heartache that this community suffered from this storm, there's also a lot of good.
Spring signals a fresh start, and no place is that more apparent than the community fields in Jarrell, where kids' cares focus more on bats and balls.
I have all my friends here, and I've grown up here. I like this. It's a good place here.
Than life and losses. And yet it is here where so many are reminded of all that was lost 20
20 years ago. The exact spot where Double Creek Estates once stood, where 27 people died in the Jarrell tornado, is now literally a field of dreams, where kids like Mason Schlerner are reminded of their own family's losses.
Their house was pretty damaged.
His grandparents rebuilt in Jarrell, and most other people did too. But there are some things
this was the box
time can't erase.
The high school cafeteria.
And all photographs were to be turned into the high school there. And then they collected them all, you know, the mud and debris on them.
But it's still there.
This was
and
a
it's still there. The mud is still there.
Cheryl Mooring Stager and her sister Linda Mooring Barr lost their brother, sister-in-law, and 2 nephews in the tornado.
I know they are in spirit with us all the time.
Decades later, it is the little things they treasure most.
Is it hard for you to see this?
Yeah, sometimes.
A family scrapbook triggers all kinds of memories.
We were 1.5 years apart, so we fought a lot. Normal. He and I did it. Normal big brother. It wasn't until, I guess, you know, I got older, we had kids, you know, that I came to appreciate, you know, more about him.
Photos that feel like a time capsule of sorts. Treasured memories of happier times. A family at home in a community they loved, followed by the moment that changed everything.
We can wipe the tears away from our eyes, but you cannot take the pain from your heart. The hole in your heart is there every day.
These sisters have never talked publicly about their loss. On this anniversary, they felt it was necessary.
They did what they were told to do. They were in the middle of their house, in the bathroom, and so it was just a big, bad tornado.
For all that the tornado took, it also gave something to the survivors.
It's all about family, you know,
Yeah.
and you know, that's, I guess I cherish
what we have left.
The family more than I did before.
In a small town like Jarrell, where everyone feels like family, that feeling will never fade.